Good afternoon to you. We will take up the Constitution. In the meanwhile, day before yesterday, the prelim exam 2020 has been completed, and I happened to see the question papers, and there are 19 questions from Indian polity. You remember in the first class when I started Indian polity around 2 months before, I told you if you are completed, if you are thorough with the Indian polity, history, and economy and current affairs, you omit all other things. You don't attend all other things. These four subjects. Number one, history. Number two, polity. Number three, economy. Number four, current affairs. Of these four, you will get 120 to 130 marks. Even if you get 200 out of 200, there is no use. It is not going to count in the mains. You have to cross 110, 105 to 110. You are through. And this is a type of gambling which cannot be used in the mains. This is only to cross the prelim. And as I expected, as I told you, I do not claim any superiority. With all humility, I am telling. This time, if I see the question paper, there are 19 questions in Indian polity, around 20 in history, and around 15 in economy, and around 15 in current affairs. The total is around 130 to 135. We want only 110. So you are through. So definitely you will be able to get through if you concentrate these three subjects. That is the ultimate analysis of the paper. Now, secondly, many of our friends rang me up and said they have not done well and they want to make a fresh attempt. So what is the possible guidance? I tell you, you cannot rely on this prelim. Many times it so happens that you may not expect, but you will get through. Then after getting through, if you are not thorough with the mains, then it is crossing the half the well. In either way, you will be in the well. So don't lose confidence. Don't lose hope. You start preparing for the mains now itself. And general studies 4 papers are there. The results for this prelim are expected only in middle November. So now it is October. So November 14, 15, you will expect the result. And you have got only 2 months, 2.5 months to go for the mains. You do not have adequate times. You have to prepare 4 general studies papers, 250, 250, 250, 50. And then two papers in optional, 250 each. And then essay. So you will have lot of syllabus to cover. At that time you will repent. So start from today itself. In fact, yesterday itself we should have started, and you thoroughly complete. You will be definitely getting through. God plus one is majority. You are God is always with you. Have confidence, and you will definitely get through. Now let us come to the questions. We will complete the question. We will attempt the question one by one. The first question, that is, I think it is a B series, question number 21. The question number may differ, but the substance is same. Question number 21, that is in B series. I have chosen the B series. So question number 21 is, a parliamentary system of government is one in which there are 4 choices. All political parties in the parliament are represented in the government. It is absurd. Why it is absurd? All the political parties, how can be represented? How can they represent in a government? So, do you think that BJP will allow the Congress people to come into the ministry? No. Yes, of course, if there is a national government, suppose because of this pandemic there is a national government or some war is declared. So you want the president feels that there should be a national government so that all decisions are arrived at consensus. In that case, yes, you can give representation to all government, but that is not the parliamentary system. So the question, the choice number 1 is ruled out. Second choice is the government is responsible to the parliament and can be removed by it. Yes, this is the correct choice. This is the correct answer. Why? Because Article 75 says that President appoints the Prime Minister on his advice the other ministers. Ministers hold their office during the pleasure of the President. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. The same wording, the government is responsible to Parliament. I said Lok Sabha, here it is Parliament. What is the Parliament in Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha is a component of Parliament. So naturally, this choice is correct and can be removed by it. Yes, if the Council of Ministers can be removed at a moment's notice if there is a no confidence motion passed by Lok Sabha or confidence motion defeated by Lok Sabha, adjournment motion passed by Lok Sabha or policy cut motion passed by Lok Sabha, automatically the Council of Ministers will stand removed. So choice number 2, that is B, is correct. Then let us see the other choices also. The government is elected by the people and can be removed by them. Yes, it is elected by the people. The government is elected by the people. It is definitely correct. But you cannot say that it is it can be removed by them. The government can be removed by them. No, people cannot remove it. Only the representatives of the people. It is the representative democracy. Naturally, this choice is also wrong. Then the fourth one, the government is chosen by the parliament but cannot be removed by it before the completion of the fixed term. Again, this is a wrong choice because the government is chosen by the parliament. No, the government is the largest party. The leader of the largest party is sworn in as the prime minister. The government is chosen by the parliament, partly correct, but it cannot be removed by it before the completion of the fixed. That is wrong because any time the Lok Sabha can pass the no confidence motion. Only in USA it is not possible. The president cannot be removed by the Senate or the House of Representatives unless there is a charge of treason, and after inquiry then only the Senate can pass the resolution. So the choice number D is also wrong. So only B is the answer for that. Second is, which part of the constitution declares the ideal of welfare state? Very easy. Article 36, that is directive principle of state policy, says that the purpose of the directive principle of state policy is to convert the police state into a welfare state. So the ideal of welfare state is imbibed in the directive principles of state policy. Then fundamental rights, no, wrong. And preamble, wrong. Seventh schedule is division of powers with the 3 lists. It is also wrong choice. So 22A. Then comes 23. The Constitution of India defines its basic structure in terms of federalism, secularism, fundamental rights, and democracy. You remember I have told regarding basic structure. Golaknath case 68 and Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala 73. The doctrine of basic structure was introduced in this. And what are all the basic structure? They said you look upon the preamble. And preamble will tell you what is the. In addition, in various cases, the judiciary, the Supreme Court has identified certain features as basic structure. Those are federalism, yes, it is a basic structure. Secularism, yes, it is a basic structure. S.R. Bommai versus Union of India. Fundamental rights, no. Fundamental rights is not a basic structure. In fact, remember, Golaknath case, Supreme Court said Parliament cannot touch the Constitution, in particular the fundamental rights. Whereas in Kesavananda Bharati case, it overruled the Golaknath decision and said Parliament has got full powers to amend any part of the Constitution, including fundamental rights. And they also said fundamental rights is, the 44th Amendment Act deleted Article 31, right to property, but it has been upheld in the Minerval case by the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court said there are crores of people with no property remaining happy, and there are lakhs of people with plenty of property remaining unhappy. So the happiness is the property is cannot be a source of happiness. So they upheld the deletion of fundamental rights. So fundamental rights is not a part of basic structure. Then comes what is known as fundamental rights and democracy. Yes, democracy is a basic structure. Then comes, so the first question statement is wrong. Second statement, the Constitution of India provides for judicial review to safeguard the citizens' liberties and to preserve the ideals on which the Constitution is based. Which of the statement given above is correct? That is second statement. What is judicial review? Judicial review is given in Article 13, borrowed from American Constitution. What Article 13 says? The state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges any of the rights conferred in Part 3 of the Constitution. If any law is made taking away or abridging any of the rights conferred in Part 3 of the Constitution, that law, to the extent of repugnancy, is null and void. So, the purpose of judicial review is to safeguard the citizens' liberties and to preserve the ideals on which the Constitution is based. So, this is the correct statement. So, what is the answer? B only. That is 2 only. That is B. So, 23, that is answer is B. Okay. Then, one common agreement between Gandhism and Marxism is final goal of stateless society, class struggle, abolition of private property, economic determinism. Yes, this is a slightly difficult and confusing question. Now, first to say, let us go to the final goal of stateless society. If there is a stateless society, there is no ruled and there is no ruler. Ram Raja, Gandhiji dreamt of Ram Raja. Even in Ram Raja, there is a Ram and there is a people. So you cannot say Ram Raja is a Marxist theory. Secondly, then comes this class struggle. No, Gandhiji never subscribed for class struggle. Abolition of private property. According to me, abolition of private property is a common agreement. Why? Because Gandhiji advocated trusteeship. In spirit, the trusteeship is nothing but the abolition of private property. All property will be in the hands of the trustees. So, that is called trusteeship. So, the abolition of private property is a common link between the Marxism and Gandhism. So, according to me, I may be wrong, according to me, C is the correct answer. Economic determinism is not applicable here. Then comes question number 25. In the context of India, which one of the following is the characteristic of appropriate for bureaucracy? Remember the Max Weber theory? Then go to the answer. An agency widening the scope of parliamentary democracy. No, it's not correct. There is no connection between the bureaucracy and parliamentary democracy. Yes, there is a possibility of delegated legislation, subordinate legislation. But remember, Parliament delegates the rule-making powers only to the executive, not to anybody else. So then executive takes the help of the bureaucrats in making rules. So you cannot, there is no link widening the scope of parliamentary democracy, it is not there. Secondly, an agency for strengthening structured federalism. In fact, All India Services is against the federalism. Many of the states do not agree with All India Services. So this choice also gone. The third choice, an agency for facilitating political stability and economic growth. Where is the political stability connected or where is the economic growth connected to the bureaucracy? It is wrong. And the fourth, real answer is fourth. What is that? An agency for implementation of public policy. Yes, it is an instrument of public policy. It is an instrument through which the public policy is implemented. The policy framers are the government, executive, council of ministers, and they use the bureaucracy to implement the public policy. So the last one, that is D, is the correct choice for question number 25. Now we are coming to the question 26. The preamble to the Constitution of India is, number 1, part of Constitution but has no legal effect. Wrong. It is part of Constitution, no doubt. Remember, Perubari case and Kesavananda Bharati case. Okay, Perubari case, Supreme Court said preamble is not part of the Constitution, but it was overruled by Supreme Court in Kesavananda Bharati case. In Kesavananda Bharati case, Supreme Court said preamble is part of the Constitution. But remember, as and when there is a doubt, you have to look upon the preamble to interpret the Constitution. When you are in doubt, when there is an ambiguity in the provisions of the Constitution, look upon the preamble for clarification. So it has legal effect. So it is second charge, not a part of constitution, it is wrong. Third is a part of the constitution and has the same legal effect as any other part, that is correct. So part C is correct, C answer is the correct. A part of the constitution but has no legal effect independent of others, that is wrong. It has got, as any other article, it has also got the effect. So part C, choice C is correct. Then comes 27. Gold trench, reserve trench refers to. This I think it is but somehow it has crept in. It's an economic question, but fortunately I have taken this under economy chapter. The gold trench is nothing but the share of the member country to the IMF. So 24% they can take, and accordingly, remember 91 global financial crisis in India, we have taken loan from IMF. So it is a loan system of World Bank. Wrong. It is not. It is a twins of Bretton Woods conference, but it is not related to World Bank. Secondly, one of the operations central bank. Central bank means RBI. Again, it is wrong. Third is it is a credit system granted by WTO. No, it is not WTO. It is IMF. Fourth, a credit system granted by IMF to its members. It is the correct answer. That is the D is the choice. Then 28. With reference to the provisions contained in Part 4 of the Constitution, which of the following statements are correct? Part 4, immediately when it is Part 4, which it should strike on you, it is a directive principle of state policy. Part 3 is fundamental right, Part 4 is directive principles, and Part 4 is fundamental duties. So, which of the following statements are correct? They shall be enforceable by a court. Wrong. It cannot be enforced through court of law. First is wrong. Second, they shall not be enforceable by any court. Correct. It is, even though it is not enforceable through court of law, it is fundamental for the government to apply these principles in making law. That has come in the next. Third, the principles laid down in this part are to influence the making of the laws by the state. So the correct is 2 and 3. That is, it shall not be enforceable by any court, and the principles laid down in this part are to influence in making law by the state. So 2 and 3, that is D is the correct choice. Then 29. Consider the following statement. According to Constitution of India, a person who is eligible to vote can be made a minister in a state for 6 months, even if he is not a member of that state. I mean, that state assembly. It is an implied. It is an implied. This is the first. It is wrong. It is not apparently, obviously wrong, because every minister is a voter, but every voter cannot become a minister. Remember, what are the qualifications for being a member of the legislative assembly? He can alone be posted as he can alone be appointed as the minister. You can be a voter. I am 18 years. I can vote. I am a voter. My name is in the electoral roll. But I cannot become a minister, because what I should be eligible to become the member of legislative assembly. That is 25 years. Or 30 years in the council. If I am in the council 30 years or MLA 25 years, then only. And not only that, I should not have been disqualified under other provisions of parliamentary law. So all these conditions should be fulfilled. So you remember Jayalalitha's case, she was convicted and she was disqualified, and the AIADMK party elected her unanimously. Remember, unanimously as the leader of the party, in spite of her disqualification. She was sworn in as the chief minister. Subsequently, her election as the chief minister was nullified because she was prima facie, ab initio. She was not eligible to become the member of the legislative assembly. Her qualification. So, howsoever you are tall, constitution is taller than you. There is a limitation for the people. Even though the people mandate, let us say tomorrow all the 300 MLAs of some particular assembly is one party. All of them have chosen a person who is less than 17 years. And he has been elected as the leader of the house. Can you sworn him as the chief minister? It is not possible. Why? The constitution, the basic provisions of the constitution provides the qualification. Unless those qualifications are fulfilled, he cannot become the minister. So, the first is wrong. Second, according to Representation of People Act 1951, a person convicted of a criminal offence and sentenced in imprisonment for 5 years is permanently disqualified from contesting an election even after his release from prison. Remember, wrong. Why? Permanently. He is not disqualified permanently. There are two types of offences. Number one offence is any offence which carries a sentence of 2 years or more. In that case, from the date of release, 6 years he is disqualified. Another is he need not undergo any imprisonment. If he is simply convicted, untouchability, or what is called PCA, Prevention of Corruption Act, or what is called dowry death. So in all these cases, mere conviction is enough. One day conviction, finished. Then 6 years is disqualified. So disqualification is limited period, 6 years. So it is not permanently. So both are wrong. So answer is neither one nor two. Neither one nor two. Then comes what is known as 30. 30. Question number 30. The President of India can summon a session of Parliament at such place as he thinks fit. Correct. Article 85 of the Constitution. President is competent to summon both the houses of Parliament at any place at any time as he thinks fit. Tomorrow, if the President wants that the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha should be convened at Gandhinagar, yes, it can be done to commemorate 100th centenary of Gandhiji. Now it is over, but it is only imagination. It is perfectly all right. He has got full powers. Second is, the Constitution of India provides for 3 sessions of Parliament in a year, but it is not mandatory to conduct all 3 sessions. Remember, there is no provision in the Constitution. The Constitution provision in Article 85 is that the interval between the 2 sessions should not be more than 6 months. That's all. There is no other provision. 3 sessions, 2 sessions, it's all the Speaker and the Business Advisory Committee and the Prime Minister. All the 3. There is no question of 3 sessions, etc. Then the third choice, there is no minimum number of days that the Parliament is required to meet in a year. Correct. There is no minimum 100 days, 80 days, 70 days, 80 days, whatever it is. There is no minimum days prescribed. So 1 is right and 3 is right. 1 and 3. C. So 30 C. 30 C. Now consider the following statement. Aadhaar metadata cannot be stored for more than 3 months. Supreme Court decision, 6 months. Second, a state cannot enter into any contract with the private corporation for sharing the Aadhaar data. Correct. It is correct. No private collaboration. Number 3, Aadhaar is mandatory for obtaining insurance products. It is wrong. Insurance products, wrong. Then, Aadhaar is mandatory for getting benefits funded out of Consolidated Fund of India. Correct. So 2 and 4 are correct, that is B is correct. Then Rajya Sabha has equal powers as Lok Sabha in the matter creating all India services. No, Rajya Sabha has upper hand because Article 312, 249 and 312, Rajya Sabha has more powers. Article 312, Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution for creation of all India services by 2/3 majority of the members sitting and voting. Remember, 2/3 majority of the members sitting and voting, no special majority. Based on this resolution, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha will pass a law creating a all India service. So, Rajya Sabha has upper hand. Secondly, amending the constitution. Yes, equal powers. Rajya Sabha concurrence is necessary. Lok Sabha concurrence is necessary. You remember Panchayat Raj, Rajiv Gandhi government, Panchayat Raj amendment bill was defeated in Rajya Sabha by 4 votes. Abolition of privy persons by Mrs. Gandhi government defeated by 1 vote in Rajya Sabha. So, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha has equal powers with regard to amendment of the constitution. Then removal of government. Removal of government, no, it is the prerogative of Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha under Article 75, the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister is collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. So, whose responsibility? It is not equal powers, it is in favor of Lok Sabha. Then making cut motion, it is a financial transaction. So, Lok Sabha has an upper hand, Rajya Sabha has. So, answer is B, amending the constitution. Then 33, with reference to the funds under members of parliament local area development scheme, which of the following statement is correct? Number 1, MP-led funds must be used to create durable assets. Correct. That's the correct. Specified portion of each MP fund must benefit SC/ST. Correct. MP lads funds are sanctioned on yearly basis and the unused funds cannot be carried forward. It is wrong. It is the suggestion is it should not be carried over. Now it is it can be carried over. So this is wrong. Second is, then comes what is known as the district authority must inspect at least 100%. You should know that. You see the answer, the choice at least 100. What is at least 100%? So obviously this is wrong. So remember, the answer is only the first is correct and second is right. So 1 and 2. 1 and 2. That is A. Then which one of the following categories of fundamental rights incorporates protection against untouchability as a form of discrimination? Remember, in which article untouchability is there? Article 17. So Article 17, where it comes, there are 7 fundamental rights. Right to equality, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Right to freedom, 19, 20, 21 and 22. Right against exploitation, 23 and 24. And right to freedom, 25, 26, 27, 28. Cultural educational right, 29 and 30. Right to property, Article 31, which has been deleted through 44th Amendment Act 1978. So then Article 31, 32, Article 32, the 7th freedom is, 7th fundamental right is right to constitutional remedy. So of these 7, 1 deleted. So as of now, only 6. And under this, the right to untouchability, the protection against untouchability comes in Article 17, which comes under right to equality. So D is the correct answer. In India, separation of judiciary from executive is enjoined by preamble. No. It is enjoined Article 50, directive principles of state policy, not in 7th schedule. 7th schedule is division of powers. Conventional practice, no. The answer is B, 35B. Along with the budget, the finance minister also places other documents before parliament, which include macroeconomic framework statement. The aforesaid statement is presented because this is mandated by long convention, standing parliamentary convention. No, it is not out of parliamentary convention. Article 112, no. Article 112 speaks about the annual financial statement, otherwise called budget. Article 110, definition of money bill, no. Article 13, estimates of Government of India, again wrong. So the provision of Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003. We are, so this is the FRBM Act, FRBM Act of 2003. So the choice is D. Then comes constitutional government is by definition a government by legislature, popular government, multi-party government and limited government. What is the answer? Limited government. If the, just imagine if there is no constitution, whatever the Council of Ministers in center want, they would have done it, and whatever the Council of Ministers in state wants, they would have done it. Which limits the powers of the government? It is only constitution. So constitution by definition means limit to the government. It is a limited government. It is not a government legislature. Anybody can legislature will be there. But the constitution limits the powers of the government. So, constitution government is by definition limited government. Then comes other than fundamental rights, which are the following parts of constitution reflect the principles and provisions of Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Number 1, preamble. Yes. Preamble it is there. Fraternity, equality, justice, all these things are included. Directive principles of state policy, yes, but not in fundamental duties. Remember, fundamental duties are applicable to the citizen, not to the state. So, directive principles of state policy, yes, preamble is correct, and no fundamental duty. Fundamental duty is not there. So, only 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So, this is A. In India, the legal services authorities provide free legal service to which are the following type of citizens? The persons with an annual income of 1 lakh, less than 1 lakh, correct? The transgender with an annual income of less than 2 lakh, and member of other backward classes with an annual income of less than 3 lakhs. The first 2 is correct, and all senior, not all senior citizens. So, only 1 and 2 is correct according to me. This question is slightly confusion. We have to check it up again. Thank you. With this, we will end the class and we will continue with the rest of the portions of the Constitution of India in next class. Thank you very much. Thank you.